it's about two guys, two
wonderful,
lovely,
handsome,
young,
Canadians.
charming, naive.
It's basically Flight of the Conchords mixed with the Ali G show. If you imagine that. Narratively, you're watching Flight of the Conchords like sort of dumbass musicians trying to become famous, except shot in the real world as though it's a documentary. And the combination of those two things leads to just some things that have never been seen on TV before. Like imagine a narrative show or a show with a story, except only two people in the show are acting and everybody else is real. No, we were pretty intentional about still trying to make it as inside jokey and personal as it was when we first made it, because we think that that's the strength of it. Also, I think that that's learning from independent movies. That is, I think, a real strength as opposed to a weakness. Specificity, sort of insular comedy that is based on your own experience, however limited that is. Like for us, we're playing characters who are super suburban, have almost no concept of the world outside of maybe even 9 or 10 kilometers from where they were born. And, their politics are deeply informed by Disney movies of the 1990s. Like they have absolutely no breadth to their experience. And we realize that's a strength. Keeping it like that is much better than, and almost limiting like how much people will be able to understand it somehow makes it more relatable and more understandable for whatever crazy reason. Most television shows that you watch, the characters are stupid or insane or any of the sort of cliched sitcom ideas, but they're always insulated by the creation of a TV show. Maybe that sounds complicated, but you think about a show like, Cheers or Seinfeld or any of these shows, like the characters have neurotic, weird behaviors, but they're only... the consequences for them all exist within that show. So the consequences are always written. But with our show, what we try to do is have our character be completely off the wall crazy, but to one another we seem grounded, and then put that dynamic into the real world. And we act as though nothing has changed. So what we're sort of confronting real people with the dynamics of sitcom logic or character on TV logic, where we'll go up to somebody and be like, hey, okay, we're trying to sneak our float into the Santa Claus parade. Can you help us? And I mean, that's not something that a normal person will ever hear in their life. And so we're interested in how that, not just grounded, but reality interacts with characters this stupid. Yeah, quite a bit. We are always sneaking around. But I get such a thrill from sneaking around. I really do.
I'm sick of all this sneaking around.
People in Toronto, that's how they know me. They know me as the sneaker. But yeah, we shoot every day. It's hell. It's hell on earth. It really is. Like, because you're never not working. You're always there because the show is so... because it's like shooting a gigantic documentary. There's no excuse to not be working.
60% of it is mistakes.
It's mistakes.
Or just things that happened, and there's no way that we even had an eye for it in the moment, and we wouldn't repeat it. But you had the keen eye for it afterwards, and you're reviewing footage, and you go, all right, well, that is a real moment right there. That's a sincere
And
piece.
it speaks to the production process that we have, mostly attributed to our network, which basically says, yeah, just bring us the show. It means that those mistakes are not... classified as mistakes, or when we go out and shoot something, we don't get it and it gets screwed up. That doesn't mean that day is lost or that shoot is lost. It's just a completely different way of thinking about production. Whereas normally you have a plan, you go in and execute the plan, and if the plan is not executed exactly right, it's a failure. Whereas for us, we go in with very little done beforehand, get what we get, and we don't know if we've succeeded or failed until probably a month after that shoot. We've had shoots where we both think, okay, that was a disaster, it was awful, winds up being the best stuff in the show. We've had shoots where we go and we think, man, that was incredible, and we never use a frame of it. And that...
Or an epiphany about something going into an episode where you're like, oh my God, we need this whole other piece in here that's going to string everything together.
Yes.
And then we're proud of ourselves, thinking, oh, this is good writing. But we wouldn't have been able to do it beforehand. Like, we're not that good.
Even further, if we had known beforehand, I bet you we wouldn't have even liked it. Well, our company just makes this show. It's a ton of work. There's about 10 of us. We all work out of the same house, and that includes editors who are also the writers, who are also the cinematographers. Our production team is Matt Miller, Vicky Lane, Matt Grayson. It's just one house with everybody in it all working on this show. And we took that model from Operation Avalanche, where we were making another sort of fake documentary style show. And
We've got the set on the main floor, which is a recreation of our old apartment.
Yeah.
Miraculously, we were able to kind of feng shui the whole thing, like exactly. We still kept the things that were on the walls, got a piano to go in there, red curtains.
and then upstairs
Second
is
floor is editing, and the third floor is offices. So the sort of rotating door of how the place works in a circular motion is really neat, because the editors, who are also the writers, will be working on stuff and come up with something and be like, you know what, we need one more line of J. Well, tune in January, where we're going to be hitting the airwaves. This is Jay and Matt from Nirvana the band, signing off.